Atlanta until Sunday, but miracle of miracles. The last client decided to cancel, which meant I was free to catch an early flight, grab a burger at the airport, and play hero husband by coming home early. I even stopped at the Flores like some goddamn Hallmark movie character and picked up a dozen pale pink tulips for Clara, my wife. Pale pink tulips, symbol of innocence. Tyranny would slap me in the face later. I pull into the driveway around 3:00 p.m. and there it is. A car I recognize, some sleek little dark blue coupe with tinted windows. The kind of car that says I own cologne more expensive than your rent. My first thought, maybe it's Olivia from yoga or Emily next door visiting. Sure, because if that's totally normal. Strange dude's car just parked like he owns the place. I go inside calling out, "Honey, I'm home early." All chipper like some sitcom husband from the 60s. No answer, but I hear the shower upstairs. I smile, perfect. I think like an idiot. He'll sneak up, surprise her with the tulips. Maybe recreate one of those shampoo commercials where the husband shows up and everything gets steamy, only with more knee pain and less upper body strength. I put the tulips in a vase, like the thoughtful sap I am, and head upstairs. That's when I hear it. Voices plural. One of them is definitely Malian, not in the your gay best friend who does your nails way. No, this one's got the deep, confident tone of a man who does push-ups for fun and probably refers to his abs as the boys. Then Clara laughs. This flirty, breathy laugh I hadn't heard since Reagan was in office. The first Reagan, my gut instantly in knots. My heart somewhere in my left sock. I creep toward the bedroom. The bathroom door is cracked open and I can hear the water still going. Through the frosted glass of the shower door, I see silhouettes. Two of them, not ghosts, not my imagination, just my lovely wife and her random naked gym membership. I don't even remember deciding to open the door. One momentum outside, and the next him yanking it open like I'm about to announce myself as the star of Dine NBC to catch a cheating spouse. And there they are, Clara Marcus. Yeah, I found out his name later because of course it's Marcus. Marcus. Looks early 40s, dark hair, built like a guy who says things like, dude, and owns more than one protein shaker. He throws his hands up like he's caught breaking into a vending machine. Well, man, I can explain. Can you, Marcus? Can you explain what quantum leap of logic brought you naked into my shower? Clara shrieks and grabs a towel like that's going to preserve her dignity. Sweetheart, that ship sank about 4 months ago. I point at Marcus out off my house now. He's all fake, calm, trying to de-escalate like he's the reasonable one. Yeah, no problem, man. Just going to get dressed and leave, all right. No need for drama. No need for drama. Marcus, you a-hole, you're literally dripping in my house in the same spot where I once sang happy birthday to my daughter while holding a Aruba duck. You've already peed in my emotional swimming pool and now you're asking me not to make waves. And that's when something in me snapped. Maybe it was the nonchalance, like he's done this before, like I'm the one inconveniencing him. Maybe it was the smirk I swear he tried to hide. Or maybe, just maybe, it was the fact that he was in my shower in the house my grandmother left me. I don't know what came over me exactly. One moment I'm standing there marveling at the absurdity of finding a naked gym rat in my sacred marital shower, and then next I grab him by the shoulders. Marcus didn't even see it coming. I slammed him hard against the bathroom wall with second of force that would make drywall file for a restraining order. The shampoo bottle fell over. Something ceramic cracked. Probably a fancy candle may have. Never even lit. Tragic. Marcus, to his credit, tried to push me back. I think he forgot I'm 6'1" and pissed off and built from 17 years of repressed marriage rage and Costco water bottle deliveries. So I hit him a nod in Theopan hand slap like a real housewives reunion kind of way. I clocked him clean. He stumbled. Then I hit him. This time he crumpled like a folding chair at a barbecue. Hands going straight to his face. Blood from his nose. Bright dripping, ruining my goddamn bath mat. Clara, oh. Now she decides to participate. Screaming my name like I'm the lunatic here. David, stop. You're going to kill him. Please. If I wanted to kill him, I wouldn't have used my fists. I have locked the bathroom door and turned the water heater to Still, something about the sight of blood shocked me back to reality. Not guilt, not remorse, just sheer mess of it. The tile, the towel, the waste of a perfectly good white bathrobe that now looked like it belonged on a Civil War battlefield. So I backed off, stood up straight like I was the adult in the room. Despite being the only one who hadn't recently shared a laugher with my wife, and said, "You've got 5 minutes. Get out of my house before I call the cops myself." Marcus scrambled, like a raccoon caught raiding a fridge. Clothes in hand, bleeding from the nose, half-dressed, dignity trailing behind him like a forgotten sock. Looked like he was fleeing a haunted house. But no, just my house, my grandmother's house. And yes, in that moment I felt majestic. Clara. She ran after him. Marcus, wait. Like we were in a soap opera called Desperate Housewives of Eastwood. And I just stood there watching her towel flap in the wind, wondering where exactly my life took a detour into this badly scripted telenova. Fast forward to now. I'm apparently psychotic, violent, dangerous. Clara is staying with her sister, who, by the way, once told me quinoa was too spicy. So great company. She says she's afraid of me, afraid some woman who once threw a wineglass at a raccoon outside because it looked at her wrong. Now she's talking divorce, restraining orders, the full Lifetime movie villain husband package. Then comes the cherry on the dumpster fire. Mason, our son, calls me yesterday, says his mother told him what happened. "Dad," he says, voice full of judgment, "I can't believe you attacked someone like that." Attacked someone like that. I say, "He was nicked with your mum in my shower. That doesn't give you the right to beat him up." He replies, "Kids, they grow up, go to college, take one intro to ethics class, and suddenly they're the Dalai Lama." I tried to explain, tried to walk him through the situation, but he just kept saying how disappointed he was, that he's ashamed. Ashamed like I kicked a puppy, like I cheated on her with Marcus. My brother naturally has opinions. Should have called the police, he says. Oh really, Sherlock? Call the cops and say, "Hi, yes, ID like to report. My wife's taste in men. Not illegal, remember? As long as she can sense the law, doesn't care who's naked in whose shower." And just when I think this whole Greek tragedy can't get more absurd. Bam, Sunday morning, I'm at work. I've got a meeting with clients at 11 a.m, big ones. Ones who could actually bring in real money and stop my office from smelling like budget printer, toner, and desperation. 2 uniformed cops walk in, not undercover, not in suits, unformed David Grant. One says, like we're in a damn courtroom drama. I raise my hand like I'm being picked for dodgeball. "Present, sir, we have a warrant for your arrest." Professional, yes. Subtle, Absolutely not. Every head in the conference room swiveled toward me like a D just confessed to being Banksy. My boss had to step in, had to explain to the clients we've been chasing for 3 quarters, why their meeting was being postponed. So yeah, I spent Sunday night in county jail. Ever wanted to know what rock bottom smells like? It's a mixture of bologna sandwiches, Lysol, and broken dreams. I was in there until my lawyer, Ron Dawson, no relation to that, Ron Dawson. This one looks like a hitman who works as a DJ on weekends. He worked his magic and got me out on bail. Assault in 3rd degree, a misdemeanor, thank God. But apparently still serious in auto, threatened me with up to a year in jail and a $4,800 fine. I paid $2,800 for bail. You know what I could have bought for $2,800? A new grill, a vacation, therapy instead. I bought one night in a communal concrete suite in a criminal record. Now, Ron Dawson, Esquire. This man is a legend in husband-saving circles. Picture a divorce lawyer crossed with a bulldog in a Hugo bar suit. His entire office smells like cigar smoke, old scotch, and vengeance. The man breathes in restraining orders and exhales custody wins. He once got Agai visitation rights for a dog, a goldfish, actually, but still. Anyway, while I was locked up, probably missing my last decent chance at a full night's sleep this decade, Clara was in Law and Order Betrayal Unit. She went to court and got herself a temporary restraining order. She claimed I had a history of controlling and violent behavior and that she feared for her safety. This woman, has she met him, 17 years. Not once have I laid a hand on her, never even yelled. I've talked to customer service reps with more hostility than I've ever shown Clara, but apparently throwing out her boy toy with a little extra muscle turns me into Hannibal Lecter. Now, hey, race the kicker. That restraining order says I can't come within 90 yards of her, which includes my own house. Yes, you heard me. My house, the house my grandmother left me. The house I've paid taxes on, maintained and cleaned, milled of 4 years. And now I'm banned from it, like him some creepy neighbor who tried to sell encyclopedias in denude. So Sunday morning, I get out of jail wearing the same wrinkled clothes from my Thursday meeting because of course I am. And I drive home. Naive little me, still hoping this was all some horrific mix-up and Clara would open the door in tears, clutching the pale pink tulips I left on the kitchen counter like a scene out of a Nicholas Sparks redemption arc. Nope, my key doesn't work. She changed the locks. Classic dot, and across the street, a patrol car parked like it's a damn stakeout episode of Cops Eastwood Edition. Just sitting there, making sure I, the dangerous villain, don't violate the sacred perimeter of my own damn driveway. I called Ron immediately. David, he said in his signature growl, you've got the deed, right? Yeah, then don't worry. We'll fight this. It's all smoke and drama. Temporary restraining orders are like Hollywood marriages. Look scary but rarely last. The man is a divorced god. He's Zeus, but with better hair and court citations. The restraining order's valid for 2 weeks, and then we've got a hearing. That's when a judge will decide I'm a menace to society or just a man who found a stranger in his lofa zone. Until then, I can't go home. Can't grab me clothes, my mail, my laptop, my good razors, my deodorant. I'm living out off the suitcase I packed for a 3-day business trip, now converted into my sad mobile wardrobe. Hotel life, glorious.am on a first-name basis with the night clerk, and I've memorized the vending machine options. And don't get me on how dignified it feels to take Zoom calls from the corner of a room that smells like air freshener and despair. Clara won't return my texts. I've tried every version. Please call me. Let's talk. Really, silence. So, Itrid calling the house. One last Hail Mary, she answered and immediately hung up. The real punch in the gut. Mason came home from college. This weekend, and where's he staying? Oh, just at the house with her. My house. My grandmother's house. The one I'm now legally banned from. Like I'm some sort of haunted antique. I texted him. Nothing dramatic. Just, hey, want to grab coffee? I'd really like to talk. Simple, measured, fatherly. He responded with, Mum showed me the police report. I can't believe you're my father. Don't contact me until you get help for your anger issues. My anger issues. I laughed out loud, alone in a hotel room in sweatpants I've worn for 3 days because all my other clothes are in her custody now. Anger issues. I've spent 17 years married to a woman who thinks using both sides of the sponge is disrespecting the system, and I never once raised my voice. I've watched The Bachelor for 6 consecutive seasons without throwing a chair. I didn't. Avenge it mad when Clara bought that stupid reclaimed wood table that gives splinters if you look at it wrong. Buthers, this one moment where I catch a stranger playing Laugh at Olympics with my wife in my shower. This is the moment that defines me. So yeah, I responded, what anger issues? I've never had anger issues in my life because I haven't. The only time I ever threw a punch was when my home turned into a literal episode of Cheaters. But somehow in the one they're real pointing fingers at, in the violent one, the unstable one, Ron, bless them on, tells me the restraining order is probably temporary. His exact words were, unless she pulls out old text messages where you yelled at her about leaving wet towels on the bed. I'm not too worried. Apparently, unless she can prove some pattern of domestic abuse, and spoiler alert, she can't. The judge is unlikely to make it permanent. Button, he also added, of course, this could drag out for months, especially if she files for divorce, which knowing Clara is probably being drafted right now and cursive with scented ink. Meanwhile, I had to make the most humiliating phone call of my life to my boss. 13 years, not a single write-up, not even a late report. I've shown up to meetings with the flu, food poisoning, and once with my shirt button wrong, Butylways on time. I tell him, hey, just wanted to let you know if you saw the news or heard from anyone. Yes, I go to arrested. He pauses, deep sigh. Is this going to be a thing, David? I say, hopefully not. I mean, if walking in Anya, wife cheating and reacting like a human being is now a thing, then maybe. But I'm working on it. He was so understanding, which is corporate speak for not currently firing me, but watching closely like a hawk in hooper of loafers. He said, if it turns into a conviction or affects my ability to work with clients, we'll need to discuss my future. With the company, you know the kind of phrase that makes your blood pressure triple. So now I'm homeless, professionally unstable, and broke. Let's tally the financials, shall we? Lawyer, not cheap. Bail, $2,800. Hotel, $210 a night, which I now know includes exactly 1 pillow, 2 towels, and 0 hope. Total so far, over $9,500. And I'm still paying the mortgage on the house I'm banned from, and the cherry on this crap Sunday. Clara still has access to our joint accounts, So, she's in swiping, buying throw pillows and expensive kombucha, while I'm rationing breath mints and contemplating laundry in the hotel sink. Meanwhile, I can't get a damn pair of socks or my mail. My mail. She hung up on me when I called the house. Literally picked up the phone, confirmed it was me, and then click, that was it. And now everyone wants to tell me you should have just called the police. Oh, should I have really called them? For what, exactly? Hello, yes, I'd like to report a crime. A man is currently naked in Mishowa with my wife, and the officer would have said, "What, sir? Is he there against his will?" No, he looks pretty comfortable actually. Then we suggest you make him a sandwich and call a therapist, because let's be real, he weighs there because my wife invited him. Look, I get it. It's not breaking and entering. If your wife opened the damn door and invited the guy in with a scented candle and a playlist titled Afternoon Delight, legally, he had permission. And if I decalled the cops, they probably would have shown up, taken one look at the scene. Clara, a towel, Marcus holding his pants, and shrugged. Sir, they would have said, this is a civil matter. Yeah, civil, because says civility like walking into your own shower and discovering someone else's sudsy ass in it. I understand is screwed up legally. I do. I didn't act like the Dalai Lama. I acted like a guy who just found his wife cheating in the house. His grandmother left him. Sue me. Actually, they kind of are. I saw red, I reacted. I didn't whip out a legal pad and schedule a mediation. I did what 98% of the population would do if they had a pulse and a mortgage. But now I'm the one paying the price. Meanwhile, Marcus, shampoo stallion, gets to play the victim with his little nose bandage and his foe. I didn't mean any harm, man. Energy. What really grinds my gears, though, is just how easy it was for Clara to pull off this restraining order circus. She walks into court, says she's afraid of me. No evidence, no bruises, no threatening texts. Not even a raised eyebrow. And boom, I'm banished from my own property like I'm Dracula at a garlic festival. There's no due process. No, let's hear both sides. Nothing. I didn't even touch her. I hit the guy who was literally inside her like a Costco sample tray. But somehow that makes her one in danger, because I might what? Slam a cabinet too loud. Ron, king of husband's rights, told me judges usually play it safe on these things. They don't want to risk being the one who ignored aired flag, he says, sipping his whiskey like he's seen it all. And I get it. I do. I understand why the law's on the side of caution with domestic violence claims. But this isn't domestic violence. This is strategic warfare. This is made using the system like a blunt instrument in what's clearly about to become a divorce-level bloodbath. Commenter says, you need to start building your case immediately. Document everything. Oh, trust me. Already on it. First thing I did when I checked into the hotel after weeping softly into the $4 pillow was call the bank. I set up alerts on every joint account. Now, every time Clara swipes our debit card, I get a text message that makes my blood pressure spike. So far, it's been tame. Groceries, gas, one trip to Starbucks, so large it probably included a muffin army. But still, I'm watching and I'm tracking everything I spent. Hotel, $149 a night, plus $27 a day in parking because apparently breathing. Air downtown is a luxury now. Food. Since I can't cook, I'm hemorrhaging money on room service and gas station sushi. Uber rides to and from meetings with Ron. $42 round trip because of course his office is just far enough away to be annoying. I'm now over $12,000 deep in this tester. And that's just week 1. Ron says if the judge ends up ruling this restraining order was frivolous, there's a slim but real chance I might be able to recoup some of the costs from her. He used the term financial clawback, which made me picture a bear in a suit going after her bank account. Gave me a little hope. But the mortgage, that's the elephant in the bankruptcy room. $3,400 a month between the mortgage, property taxes, and insurance. I'm paying a fortune to not live in the house I own. It's like sponsoring a child overseas, except the child is my house and the updates are just photos of Marcus using my espresso machine. If this drags on for months, and Ron says it very well could, I'm screwed, and Clara knows it. I'm not naive. I know Clara. I've been married to her for 17 years. I know exactly how her mind works when she wants something. It's like watching a chess grandmaster play speed checkmate with your finances. She's probably counting on me bleeding cash until I finally throw up my hands and agree to some humiliating, half-baked divorce settlement just to make it stop. The hotel, the lawyer, the Uber receipts, the meals that taste like microwaved sadness. I'm hemorrhaging money like it's trendy. But hey, race the thing. She's always been good at this. Not fighting dirty, fighting surgical. She knows pressure points like a chiropractor with a grudge. And right now, mine is spelled M-O-R-T-G and Ms. on dot. And speaking of Mason, a friend asked me, have you considered? Your son might genuinely be concerned about your behavior. Maybe reach out through a family member. Ah, yes. Thank you, social media therapist. You think I haven't tried? I did try the family member route. My brother Parker, bless his optimism, called Mason 3 times, straight to voicemail. I think even Parker's feelings were hurt. But the part that really stings, like lemon juice in a paper cut, is the text Mason sent me. I can't believe you're my father. Don't contact me until you get help for your anger issues. Not dad, not hey. I'm confused and scared, but I still love you. Just father, cold, formal, like I'm some stranger who used to rent space in the attic. I could shed his little league teams. I sat through every single production of his high school's theater program, including Theon, where he played a talking tree and forgot his lines. I taught him to drive. I helped him with his college apps. I bought him a laptop when mine was older and barely booting up. Now suddenly, I'm the villain, the guy from the true crime podcast. Mason convinced him I'm some sort of raging lunatic, who's one traffic jam away from going full Hulk. I don't even slam cabinet doors for God's sake. And sure, maybe Mason's scared. Maybe he's confused. But I'm his father. That's supposed to mean something. Maybe not get out of jail free card level, but at least a benefit of the doubt. A phone call, hey, is this true? Instead OFA, pre-written downing text. Now, fast forward to the restraining order hearing 4 weeks ago. Ron naturally walks in like he's starring in Suits. Suburban edition, cufflinks, pocket square. The Mon brought 3 color-coded binders and a vendetta. Clara shows up with her attorney, a woman who looked like shed charges by the eyebrow raise, and starts painting a picture of me as some unstable tyrant with fists of fury. Button reality hit. No evidence, no threats, no pattern of behavior, just own outburst in one extraordinarily provoking situation. And by the time Ron finished quoting case law like it was slam poetry, the judge looked at Clara and said, "There's insufficient cause, Togrant, a permanent restraining order." Boom. Just like that, it was over. Well, the legal part was. But what? happened in that courtroom that changed my relationship with my son forever. First, the good news. Because God knows we need a miracle crumb around here. Ram was right. Turns out when you haven't actually been abusive, it's hard for someone to prove you're abusive. Crazy, I know. Clara couldn't present a single shred of evidence of domestic violence or threats. The judge even said out loud, bless her, that while me decking Marcus was clearly not my finest moment, it was an isolated incident and did not demonstrate a pattern of violence toward Clara. Translation: Sir, you're not a monster. You're just a guy who caught a naked interloper using his laugher and momentarily turned into Liam Neeson. So, the restraining order dissolved, gone, poof, and the house, mine again, sweet, sweet home, minus the spiritual stench of betrayal. But then it got messed up on a level I didn't think possible. Mason, my son, my flesh and blood, the kid whose diapers I changed and who once sobbed over a broken Lego spaceship, walked into that courtroom and testified for his mother against me. I remember watching him walk to the stand like he was about to give a TED talk on how to shatter your father's soul in 3 easy steps. He looked straight at the judge and said under oath that I was controlling, emotionally abusive, that I monitored all communications in the house and made major family decisions unilaterally. Excuse me, we had parental controls on the Wi-Fi like every other parent who doesn't want their teenager discovering the dark side of Reddit before they finished algebra. And yes, I made decisions about finances and home maintenance because Clara would literally say, "You handle that, David. I don't want to deal with it." She once had a panic attack because she couldn't remember if she paid the water bill or if it was magic. But the dagger was when Mason said I was relieved to leave for college because I didn't have to walk on eggshells anymore. Eggshells. The only shells in our house were from the organic cage-free ones he insisted we buy after a freshman ethics class. This is the same kid who used to call me every Sunday like clockwork. "Hey Dad, gotta be on my psych paper. Dad, what's a good way to fix a squeaky dorm bed? Dad, can I VMO for Uber Eats again?" And now he's in court calling me emotionally abusive. Ron, God's gift to men who married too optimistically, rose from his chair like a lawyer hood, spent his entire morning feeding on depositions and disdain. His tie was straight, Heiss expression calm, but I knew what that look meant. He was about to barbecue my son. He strolled up to the witness stand with a posture that said, "This won't take long." Legal pad in one hand, pin he didn't even need in the other. Hadn't smile. He didn't need to. "Mr. Mason," Ron said, voice flat like he was about to read the back of a cereal box. "Let's go over a few things. You testified that your father was emotionally abusive. Is that correct?" Mason nodded. "Yes." "Great. Let's get specific," Ron said, clicking his pen like it was a pistol cocking. "Name one time your father emotionally abused you." Mason blinked. "Well, it wasn't like one specific time. It was more like, so no specific time. It was just the overall environment. I always felt like I had to walk on eggshells." "Oh, I see. So, your complaint is that you weren't allowed to act however you wanted without consequences." Fascinating, Ron. Didn't even flinch. Let me rephrase. Did your father ever raise his voice to you in a threatening way? "No," Mason muttered. "Did it ever threaten you with physical harm?" "No." "Did he ever hit you?" "No." "Did he ever hit your mother?" "No." Ron paused. Let the silence stew in the courtroom like a bad casserole. "But you still say he was abusive?" "Yes," Mason said with the conviction of someone who knew had already lost but couldn't stop talking because abuse isn't always physical. Ron actually tilted his head like, is that so right? And I suppose when your dad grounded you for sneaking out, that was a traumatic hostage situation. Or when he asked where his money was going during college, that was economic warfare. Mason opened his mouth. Wrong, cut in. You said you felt controlled. Did your father track your phone? No. Install spyware on your computer? No. Confiscate your electronics without reason? No. Ron smiled, just a little. So, he paid for Wi-Fi, the rent, your car, your tuition, and at no point did he physically harm or threaten you. But you felt abused because he expected you to follow basic rules in his home? That's not what I said. Oh, I think it's exactly what you said. Ron turned to the judge. Your Honor, the witness has failed to cite a single incident, a phabus, emotional or otherwise. What we have here is not trauma. It's resentment squaring as relevance. The judge didn't even look at Mason. She looked at Clara's lawyer like, that's what you brought me today. Then she said, and I swear this is word for word, family testimony carries weight, but I need evidence of threatening behavior toward the petitioner, not vague descriptions of household dynamics. And just like that, Ron sat back down like just gone for a stroll, and Mason looked like someone had just unplugged his brain mid-down. Honestly, it was the first time in this entire disaster that I almost smiled. Translation: nice try, kid. You're not getting a Netflix documentary out of this. Then came Ron's coup de grace. He stood up and presented our evidence like he was launching a missile. Bank records, credit card statements, 8 months of data. Over $12,000 spent by Clara during her little side quest with Marcus. And not just on room service and silk boxes. Oh no, we're talking fancy hotels, spa weekends, restaurants that serve food on wooden slabs instead of plates. Not just in town, either. Oh no, that'd be too boring for this Lifetime movie. We had from weekend getaways to Charleston, Santa Fe, and a suspiciously expensive 5-day stay in Aspen. Because nothing says stable marriage like your wife sneaking off to Colorado with her personal trainer while you're home unclogging the garbage disposal. In that moment, sitting in court, hearing my son lead to protect the woman who betrayed me, that changed my relationship with my son forever. Let's talk numbers, because if this whole nightmare ever becomes a true crime docuseries, I want the accountants to weep during the financial wreck. The hotel charges alone, $10,300. These weren't roadside motel with questionable stains and an ice machine that moans at night. No, we're talking full-blown marble bathroom bellhop and white gloves. Luxury places like the Four Seasons in Atlanta, Hotel Crescent in Dallas, and some absurd boutique spot in Sedona, Arizona, where rooms have chakra-leaned aromatherapy menus, because apparently when you're cheating on your husband, it's important. Room smells like eucalyptus and betrayal. Ron, God bless the man. May his suit collection live forever. Laid it all out for the court like a Netflix series finale. We're talking $6,200 and dinners. That's not counting cocktails and tasting menus for two with descriptions that use more adjective than a poetry slam. And then for $1,350 at jewelry and men's clothing stores for Marcus, because nothing says thank you for your service like a new leather belt and a sterling silver bracelet from a store where you need a doorman to even make eye contact with a necklace. Then came the real kicker, the phone records, hundreds of calls and texts to Marcus going back 8 months. It was a digital love letter in the form of a spreadsheet. Timestamp after timestamp, perfectly matching the hotel bills and restaurant swipes. Clara's lawyer, Trudeau, waved it off like it was a Groupon email. Irrelevant, she said, like she was trying to skip over a spoiler in a courtroom, but the judge wasn't buying it. She looked at the stack of evidence like she had just been handed their side. For every lie Clara ever told in marriage counseling, her words, direct quote, "This paints a very clear picture of a sustained affair, which provides significant context for Mr. Grant's reaction upon discovery." Translation: no, he shouldn't have hit the guy, but it's not exactly a Hallmark misunderstanding either. So, there is order gone, torn apart, like one of those overpriced silk shirts Marcus probably picked out on my dime. But Clara wasn't done. Oh no. That same afternoon, she filed for divorce. With speed and grace of someone who's had the papers ready in her purse since April. Now she's asking for spousal support, half the value of my house, the house my grandmother left me in her will. May she rest in peace and not daunt me through this paperwork and half of everything else we own, including my 11-year-old Weber grill and the air fryer she swore she hated. Her divorce lawyer is pulling every card short of calling me an international warlord. They're trying to argue that because I have one assault charge, and let's be clear, one that I'm unfit to manage finances, and Clara needs to be protected from my volatile tendencies. Volatile. I once spent 4 hours fixing a garbage disposal without cussing once, but now I'm the poster child for chaos. Thankfully, my criminal lawyer, who now answers my cause with what happened this time, says it's likely going to get knocked down to a disorderly conduct plea. Probation, anger management classes, maybe a stern talk about my emotional bandwidth. Honestly, if they offer me a class with snacks and a PowerPoint, they'll take it. Just let me keep my house in a shred of dignity. Boo want to know what really wrecked me. Not the court fees, not the betrayals, not even Marcus' smug little wave. Outside at the courthouse, it was Mason. After the hearing, I caught up with Mason outside the courthouse. He saw me walking up and stiffened like I was a threat, like I was some stranger. That alone told me everything. I didn't raise my voice, didn't rant or beg. I just looked him square in the eye and asked, "Why would you do that? Why would you get up there and lie about me?" His face didn't flinch. Not even a flicker of doubt. I wasn't lying. That's how I experienced their family. That line, like had rehearsed it in front of a mirror. I laughed, quiet and bitter. Right. Rules and expectations, discipline and structure. That's abuse. Now looking at you right now, I feel that I failed to raise man. He crossed his arms. Defensive. It is one. It's all about control. I'm proud of Mum for finally standing up to you. I stared at him. Not my son. Not anymore. Good, I said, calm, clear, ice in every syllable. Then make sure you stay on her side. From now on, you're not my son. You made your choice in that courtroom. Don't expect a second chance when it all falls apart. He blinked like he didn't. Expect me to say it, like somewhere in his head. He thought I'd be the bigger man. Offer him grace. Leave the door cracked. He has no idea who I am anymore. You burn the bridge, Mason. Don't come looking for the ashes. I turned and walked away without another word. That didn't just hurt. It changed something permanently. He didn't just believe her. He chose to. And after years of bedtime stories, Little League, Sunday pancakes, fixing his science projects, and teaching him to drive, that was the moment I stopped being his father. That moment changed the relationship with my son forever. So Mason still shacked up with Clara at her sister's place, probably sipping oat milk lattes and journaling about trauma that didn't exist. They've both blocked me number, which is honestly a blessing. Saves me from reading another sanctimonious text that starts with assume your own healing. My brother keeps telling me to repair the relationship like it's a scratched coffee table and not. The human embodiment of betrayal who stood in court and called me an emotional war criminal. I mean, really, where exactly do you begin after your son accuses you of abuse on the record? A fruit basket, group therapy, a seance. Anyway, on to something less depressing, the divorce. And, spoiler alert, it ended in a glory, satisfying courtroom. Beat down. When I tell you Ron walked into that courtroom like a legal warlord. I mean, the man was glowing. He had a color-coded binder, a custom-tailored suit, and a quiet smirk like he already knew the judge's ruling. Now, Clara tried her usual theatrics, brought up years of psychological torment, controlling behavior and financial dependence, all with the emotional range of a C-list soap actress. But this time, she wasn't in her bathrobe holding a wine glass and facetiming her sister for backup. She was facing a judge who had read the receipts, literally. Ron brought out their sipes, all $20,200 worth of her romantic little affair budget. Hotels, spa treatments, steak dinners for two, jewelry, designer clothes from stores where you can't even pronounce the brand unless your last name ends in Rothschild. And when her lawyer tried to push for a bigger payout, claiming she was owed half the house and financial security after years of sacrifice, Ron smiled, flipped open his binder, and calmly said, "Your Honor, the home is inherited property and therefore not subject to division under state law. Additionally, all major renovations, kitchen remodel, basement build-out, new roof were financed solely through my client's income." Boom. Even had invoices color-coded, chronologically sorted. It was courtroom jazz. The judge nodded along, clearly unimpressed with Clara's Finchel sob story. She awarded her $16,500 total for the improvements she supposedly helped with, which, let's be honest, mostly amounted to complaining about backsplash tiles and forgetting Torshajul, the landscaper. Then came the asset split. The judge didn't just consider money, she looked at conduct translation. If you're going to cheat, steal, and lie, maybe don't expect a golden parachute on your way out. Clara walked away with her car, her personal belongings, and $32,500 from our savings. I walked away with my car, my house, my retirement accounts, my sanity, just barely, and the Besselgel curb stomping this state has probably seen in a decade. And hey race, the real kicker. She pushed for spousal support, claimed she was starting over and needed financial assistance to get back on her feet. Ron didn't even argue. He just raised one eyebrow and handed the judge our documentation. The judge laughed. I'm not exaggerating. Laughed. Someone who spent nearly $21,000 on hotels, gifts, and vacations with her boyfriend. She said, seems perfectly capable of managing money and supporting herself, and that was it. Clara lost her when the ruling came down. So, right after the judge handed down the ruling, house stays mine, no spousal support, minimal assets split, Clara burst into tears like she just found out her favorite wine was discontinued. She started in with the whole performance. He gave up. My career for this family. This isn't fair. I wanted to raise my hand like a guy in the back of a classroom and say, Your Honor, may I remind the court she worked part-time by choice and quit 3 years ago because she couldn't handle office politics. Not because I forced her into domestic servitude, but I didn't need to say it. Ron already had it in the file. A printed email in Clara's own words stating she left work beggars. She was tired of corporate drama and wanted time to explore creative passions, which apparently translated to explore Marker's hotel room rotation. The judge didn't budge. She sat, Therostone-faced and completely unimpressed by the waterworks. Adultery, she said, has consequences, and using marital funds to support an extramarital affair is a serious breach of fiduciary duty. And boom, just like that, Clara's Hail Mary collapsed like a flan in a cupboard. The judge even told her she could appeal, but the evidence was ironclad, and Thurling was textbook fault-based divorce. Translation: go ahead and appeal, Butya. Going to waste your boyfriend's new cologne money on legal fees. Now, because life insists on kicking me in the ribs for sport. Mason was in the courtroom, still sitting with his mother like he's her emotional support animal, nodding along like he was attending a TED Talk on maternal victim. And when the judge announced the ruling, Mason stood up like he was in a protest march and barked, "This is she doesn't have anywhere to go." The baftened into a middle school principal. "Sir, sit down or step out." One wish they'd given him a time out and a juice box. Anyway, I made my way to the parking lot, finally thinking I might get a moment of peace. Silly me. Mason came stomping after me, all righteous fury like I did just run over Mother Teresa's cat. "You're destroying Mom's life. She has nothing. How can you be so heartless?" I didn't even stop walking. I let him throw his little tantrum behind me until the whining started echoing off the concrete. Then I finally turned around, calm as a bomb with a lit fuse. "Your mother destroyed her own life, Mason. She lied, cheated, blew through our accounts like she was training for the Gold Card Olympics, and here you are repping her nonsense like a good little foot soldier. Do you even hear yourself?" He squared up like he was about to say something profound and delivered this gem. "A real man would take care of his wife. No matter what she did." I stared at him. This college sophomore who once asked me how to boil pasta was lecturing me on manhood. "Ariel man," I said, laughing. "Kid, you still think emotional maturity means not slamming your dorm door? Don't talk to me about being a real man until you've grown a pair and call spade a spade. Your mother cheated. I dumped her. End of story." My voice dropped flat. "Cold. You want to play adult? Fine, then hey, race your first life lesson. You picked your side. You got on the stand and led to help that a real man wouldn't do that. So go on, be the man you admire so much. Support her yourself." His face crumpled like a pop quiz he didn't study for. "I'm going to help her as much as I can, but I'm a college student. I don't save any money." "Boo-hoo, crybaby. Well, now you've got even less." I didn't blink, Beckers. "I'm done. Tuition gone. Allowance no more. Gas card, Segedby. You wanted to be a grown-up. Welcome to the club." His mouth opened and closed like he forgot how words work. "You can't just do that. I can't afford school without your help. I can and I will. You should have thought of that before you call me a tyrant in court." I said, "Actions meet consequences." And as if we were filming some kind of B-rated courtroom drama, Clara came charging across the parking lot, screeching like I had set fire to a puppy shelter. "You can't punish Mason for telling the truth." I turned to her voice, "Ice, he'll do what I want. I'm not your puppet, and I'm sure as hell not his wallet." Then I looked back at Mason. "You made your choice. You're not me son anymore. You gave that up in court. You want to play martyr? Go ahead, just don't expect me to fund the..." Walked away not because I was angry, but because I meant every damn word, just like she has to live with the consequences of her affair. So, hey Race, the situation now. Clara, that self-declared victim of the century, is still couch surfing at her sister's place, which would be sad if it weren't so poetic. Apparently, her sister's husband is starting to feel like he accidentally adopted a stray raccoon in a yoga hoodie and wants his living room back. Clara, in all her post-divorce glory, tried applying for apartments. But surprise, surprise, landlords don't like tenants with crap credit and no job. Who would have guessed? Most places want first month, last month, and a security deposit up front. Because again, this is Earth, not entitlement land. Anjay somehow already managed to burn through most of that $32,500 from the settlement. I mean, how do you go through $32,500 in 3 months when you're not even paying rent? Did she buy a Tesla made off disappointment? And Pagriggio, meanwhile, Mason is back at college, presumably mastering the art of holding grudges, and misjudging people. He called me last week, and for the first time in months, it wasn't to yell at me. Nope, this time it was a good old-fashioned beg-fest. Dad, he said, voice shaky, I really need you to reconsider cutting off the financial support. I've applied for loans, but they don't cover everything. I might have to drop out. Drop out, wow. And this is the same kid who stood in court like he was auditioning for Law and Order. Delusional unit talking about how I emotionally terrorized our household by, enforcing screen time and paying the mortgage. I told him, plain and simple, you've got options. Get a job like thousands of other students, or figure out how to rebuild what you burned down. He asked what he'd have to do. I almost said win the lottery and invented time machine, but I kept it direct. You admit you lied in court and publicly apologized for defaming me. And I swear the silence on the other end could have vacuumed drywall off a stud. Eventually, he came back with the classic, I didn't lie. I was just sharing my perspective on our family dynamic. Oh, his perspective, right. Because nothing says truth like weaponized therapy buzzwords. I told him, in that case, kid, take that perspective, print it on a nice piece of paper, roll it and shove it where the sun doesn't shine, and stop calling me. Look, I've been living alone in this house for months now, and honestly, it's peaceful. No drama, no emotional landmines, no wondering what Clara is really doing when she says she's going out for a walk, dressed like she's heading to a rooftop cocktail bar. Now, I eat what I want when I want, watching whatever trash TV I want. Nobody asks where I'm going. Nobody sighs because I bought the wrong brand of yogurt. It's blissfully, wonderfully uneventful. But of course, that tranquility couldn't last forever. Clara has started creeping back into my periphery, trying to get messages to me through mutual friends. The pitch, she's desperate. Mason's struggling, and I'm apparently the only one who can help. One mutual friend, God bless his neutral soul, actually said, David, maybe you could loan her some money for an apartment just for Mason's sake, right? Because nothing screams healthy post-divorce boundaries like giving your ex an unsecured loan. After she torched your life and dragged your name through a courtroom. Let's be clear, I don't know Clara's scent. Anders for Mason, he chose his team. He suited up, took the field, and ran plays for Team Mum. And they both threw me under the bus the moment it became convenient. Well, looks like karma has an impressive sense of timing and uneven better sense of humor. Fast forward 2 years. Mason, my son, the courtroom Shakespeare, who once called me a menace to domestic tranquility, got married last October to his college girlfriend, Athena. Naturally, I wasn't invited. Shocker. I found out about the wedding from my brother, who heard it from a cousin, who probably read it on Facebook while trying to ignore Clara's inspirational posts about healing through adversity or whatever hallmark crap she's peddling now. Apparently, Clara paid for the whole wedding with money she borrowed. Yes, borrowed because nothing screams I'm doing just fine. Like going into debt to throw a party you can't afford for a son who's already got one foot in a mess. Now, Athena, I only met her once before the apocalypse hit, but she seemed like she had her head on straight. Smart girl studying accounting. Came from a good family. Definitely married down, if you ask me. And guess what? 3 weeks ago, Athena found out that Mason, my son, the torchbearer of moral superiority, was cheating on her. Yeah, let that marinate. And not just cheating. Oh no. That would be too normal. He was cheating with a married woman named Kathy, mother of 2, whom he met. Wait for it, through Clara. Turns out, Clara Finley got herself a job, some office admin gig. And because apparently boundaries is a word she skipped in the divorce dictionary, Mason had been hanging around there like a stray cat. That's where he met Kathy, who's about 36, married, and clearly also in the mood to ruin her life. It all blew up when Kathy's husband, who I must say is the unsung hero of this little opera, found Mason's romantic poetry in her text messages. And by poetry, I mean probably something like, "You up? I miss your smile," Kathy confessed. The husband contacted Athena directly through Facebook like a man with recipes and no patience. And within a week, Athena packed her bags, filed for divorce, and moved back in with her parents. She even cleaned out their joint bank account. And my favorite part, returned her wedding ring by chucking it at Mason's face in the parking lot of his apartment complex. Chef's kiss and hay race where things get really fun. 2 weeks ago, I get a call. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Thought it was a spammer trying to sell me a solar panel. But curiosity got the better of me. "Dad," voice cracking, "it's me, Mason." Of course it is. He was crying like someone just told him PS5 South were discontinued forever. Athena left. She took everything. I can't pay rent. I can't make my car payments. I'm screwed. He kept going. I messed up. I know I messed up. I get it, no, Dad. I understand what you went through with Mum. Oh, do you now? He asked. Get this. If I could help him pay for a lawyer for his divorce and maybe float his rent until he could get back on his feet. I paused just long enough him to get hopeful. Are you calling to apologize for lying about me in court? I asked. There was a silence, like a hamster wheel in his brain just hit a wall. I wasn't lying, he said. I was protecting Mum. Protecting Mum, right. And I was just aggressively exfoliating Marcus' face when I decked him in the bathroom. So, I told him, very calmly, well, Mason, when you're ready to admit you lied and asked me for forgiveness like a grown man instead of a self-righteous idiot, you can call me back. Then I hung up the next day because apparently life just can't resist giving me a daily installment of regret theater. Clara recalled. I looked at the caller ID, thought maybe it wasn't accidental, but dial. Nope, it was a deliberate beg dial. David, she said, in thought-trembling voice, I used to fall for before I realized it was just the prelude to manipulation. She sounded like someone had kicked her soul in the teeth. She told me things weren't going great. Shocking, apparently, the new job doesn't pay much. Turns out, when you spend years cheating and not working, the job market doesn't exactly greet you with a parade. Who knew? Oh, and her sister's husband finally kicked her out. Can't say I blame the guy. Living with Clara sounds exhausting, and I was married to her for 17 years. I earned that opinion. She's been staying in a weekly motel, $320 a week for a bed that probably still smells like bleach and regret. Then she hit me with the pitch. Would you consider lending me money for first month and security deposit on an apartment? Cue the violins. I asked her flatly, why would I do that? And without missing a beat, she said, fourth, sake of our family, for Mason, he needs stability. See, while he's going through his divorce. At that point, Elod actually laughed. Probably sounded like a cartoon villain. There is no family. Your son made his choice when he got on that witness stand and tried to toss me under the bus, like I was yesterday's garbage. And you made your choice the moment you let Marcus park his naked body in my shower. She started crying again. Said she knows she made mistakes, but that I was being cruel and vindictive. It was a mistake, David. I never meant for things to go that far. Oh yeah, because dropping $7,800 on another man's hotel stays, dinners, and what I can only assume was the worst cologne ever sold. That wasn't a mistake. That was a carefully planned, budgeted betrayal. I told her straight up, you didn't trip and fall into an affair. Clara, you made a series of decisions, bold, expensive, naked decisions, for months. And then she said something that truly earned her an award and audacity. If you help us now, she said, her voice doing that fake innocent tremble, it would show you're the bigger person that you've really forgiven us. Oh, would it now? I didn't even let her finish, pretending to have a soul. Clara, I said, forgiveness doesn't mean I play. Sugar daddy to the two jackals who tagged in my life and tried to set it on fire like it was a meth lab. Being the bigger person doesn't mean I cut rent checks. Soyo and your whiny codependent man-child can squat in some crappy apartment and play house while crying about how Thoild's unfair. I'm not the bigger person, don't want to be, so I refused to be your wallet with a heartbeat. He ended the call with I hope you and Mason figure out how to live with the consequences of your choices, just like I had to live with mine. And that was that. Except it wasn't because Mason has called me 3 more times since. Every call sounds more desperate than the last. Like his soul is slowly being repossessed along with his car. Apparently, he's behind on rent. His car is on the verge of getting yanked. He dropped out of college because, shocker, school's expensive. When you burn your bridges, and the guy holding your safety net lets go. And now, the golden boy Hoons stood in a courtroom and said, I was a threat to his emotional safety, is working at a pizza place, making $16 an hour. The last time Mason called, he finally got around to muttering something that vaguely resembled an apology. It only took 2 years, a divorce, and whatever dignity he had left sliding out the back of a Little Caesars uniform. Dad, he said, voice low, like head just discovered shame, Wazarel. I'm sorry for testifying against you. For half a second, I waited. Maybe he'd say more. Maybe he'd finally own up. I only did it because I believed. Mum, he continued. I thought I was doing the right thing at the time. And there it was. The classic Mason special served cold with a side of no accountability. I told him flatly, that's not an apology, kid. That's an excuse for lying. And hey, race the thing. There's a difference. One says, I'm sorry for the damage I caused. The other says, sorry you didn't like what I did while I was busy buying. He went quiet after that. Probably went to cry into a garlic crust. Then, out of nowhere, I got a Facebook message from Athena. Didn't expect that. Thought maybe she was asking if I wanted coupons for legal fees or a buy one get one divorce special. But no, she actually apologized. She said, "David, I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I didn't see through all the lies during your divorce. I didn't understand what it feels like to be betrayed by the people you love." She was polite, sincere, way more self-aware than either of the fools she married into. Said her own divorce had opened her eyes. Guess nothing teaches clarity like finding out your husband's been playing hide. The sausage with a married woman from his mum's workless. Still, I appreciated the message more than anything Mason ever managed. But at the end of the day, with both of them, they're adults now, grown enough to screw up their own lives, so they can damn well grow up behind you to clean up after themselves. I spent years enabling Clara's little crisis and plugging every hole Mason made in his own sinking ship of irresponsibility. But I'm not their safety net anymore. That net got cut and urged the day they both decided to try and destroy my life. In a heartbeat, life has a funny way of circling back. Except this time, I'm actually smiling about it. I've started dating again. Her name's Erin. She's 35, smart as hell, and most importantly, not a sociopathic backstabber with a flair for hotel bills and creative adultery. We met at a charity auction, of all places. I went for the bourbon tasting. She was bidding on a vintage wine basket. We joked, a bootho, we'd cancel each other out, and she ended up winning. I offered to help her carry it to her car, and by the time well loaded the last bottle, she had my number, and I had my first moment of peace in years. Fast forward 8 months. She's pregnant. We're having a boy. I never thought I'd be excited about fatherhood again. But this feels different. Clean. Like I get to rewrite the whole thing from scratch. No eggshells. No lies. No dad. You're a mom. Coming from someone who once needed me to tie his shoes and fund his Netflix. So I posted the announcement on Facebook. Nothing over the top. Just a picture of Erin and me holding up a tiny onesie that said, "Dad, level 12 locked." Caption, simple new chapter coming soon. Baby boy due in April. Grateful, blessed, and ready for the little angel. The comments were pouring in. Congrats from old friends, co-workers, even my boss. And then, right on cue, like a fart in a cathedral, here comes Mason dropping in from whatever sad corner of the internet he lives in now. His comment, "I hope you didn't throw this one out when he stands up for what's right. Oh, honey." I stared at that comment for a solid minute, sipping my coffee, imagining him in his tight one-bedroom apartment that smells like frozen pizza and regret, typing that out on a laptop that probably belongs to his mother. I replied, "Don't worry. This child has an advantage you never had. His mother isn't a cheating wife, and I didn't raise him in a home built on betrayal. I plan to succeed this time because I'm not surrounded by liars. Hope you and Mum are enjoying that twin mattress. Embroid Wi-Fi." Let's just say the internet did not take kindly to Mason's attempt to rain on a baby announcement. The comments were savage. One guy wrote, "Bro, this ain't your moment. Let your dad be happy and go iron your mum's work shirt." Someone else said, "Imagine still living with your mum after testifying against your dad and getting divorced in under a year. Certified mama's boy deluxe." Another added, "A manwo lies in court and cheats on his wife is giving advice now. Sit down, King Oedipus." Turns out Athena cleaned him out in the divorce. He cheated, she filed, and now he pays her alimony every month for the privilege of seeing her new boyfriend drive his old car. He moved into a tiny apartment above a nail salon, but when rent got tight, guess $16 an hour doesn't go far when you owe her ex-wife and eat like a teenager. He crawled back into Clara's spare room like the world's saddest boomerang. So no, he lives with his mom again, 2 peas in a pot, a cheating ex-wife, and her emotionally constipated son, sitting on matching couches, watching daytime television, and pretending they didn't screw over the one guy who kept the onal those years in me. I've got a new house, a woman who actually loves me, and a little boy on the way. Let's see how this chapter ends. Thanks for watching. What would you do if you caught someone cheating like this? Drop your thoughts below and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories.